This is my first video update coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus on this Tuesday morning. Let's talk about some news as we walk to the coffee shop. Let's discuss the breaking news, which is that the Bahama police, they have arrested the FTX founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, has been arrested, and he is awaiting extradition to the United States. This is from Zero Hedge. Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in the Bahamas, charged with wire, securities fraud, and money laundering. According to the New York Times, the charges against SBF, which in an indictment will be unsealed on Tuesday, include wire fraud conspiracy, securities fraud conspiracy, and money laundering. Of course, SBF should also be charged for taking too damn much and adding 15 years to his sentence by being a megalomaniac sociopath. But we take attempted bribery of the entire Democratic Party instead. A little commentary from Zero Hedge there. And Zero Hedge says that a lawyer is pointing out that according to federal sentencing guidelines, SBF could be looking at approximately 612,000 years in prison. Well, one of two things is going to happen with SBF, because he knows so much about the Democratic Party and the money washing in Ukraine and all of these things. He is either going to get Epsteined or he's going to get Maxwelled. Of course, he's going to prefer the Maxwell option if you're SBF, but one of those two things is going to happen. And we're going to have to wait and see which one the powers that be choose for SBF. Do you go the way of Epstein, or do we tuck you away in some prison? We don't reveal all the names and all of the high-level people involved in your money washing racket, and you just kind of sit tucked away, hidden in a prison, and people then forget about the entire story, and that'll be that. So we'll see what happens with SBF. That is the breaking news there. And interestingly enough, because of all of this arrest, it looks like they're not going to have any congressional hearings so they can question SBF. At least that's what I understand so far. Maybe they'll put him in front of Congress, but I don't think so now. I think with his arrest, the whole Congress calling in SBF so they can question what he was up to and what FTX was up to, I think all of that now is gone, which is very interesting, very, very convenient for a lot of politicians in the U.S. Congress. So let's shift gears and talk about Putin and then Scholz. So Putin, it has been announced that he will be canceling his annual year-end marathon press conference. And this was announced by Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov, who said, as for the big press conference, yes, it won't happen before the new year. So it's going to be postponed till after the new year. This is what Peskov told reporters. He said, but we hope that the president will still find an opportunity to talk with journalists, as he regularly does, including during foreign visits, Peskov added. No reason was given by Peskov for the break for the long-standing tradition of the Russian leader. Putin has been rare among world leaders for, on certain occasions, giving lengthy, sometimes multiple hours-long press conferences and Q&As back and forth. For example, at the annual events like the Valdai Discussion Club, his latest Valdai appearance in October, included the longest speech yet, given before hundreds of reporters and officials, and clocked in at a record-breaking 3 hours and 40 minutes. So these annual press conferences, which have been taking place for the last 10 years, they usually do run 3 to 4 hours, and Putin fields all kinds of questions from local journalists as well as foreign journalists. And he answers a lot of questions about domestic politics and the domestic situation in Russia, as well as answering questions on the foreign policy front from foreign journalists as well. So that is the announcement from the Kremlin. And of course, with this announcement that Putin will be canceling or postponing the annual press conference, the year-end annual press conference. Once again, he has been doing these for the past 10 years. We are going to start hearing all of the talk about Putin's health from the collective West media. That is a guarantee. Cue up the stories from the Daily Mail and CNN and the BBC about how Putin is on his last legs. This is it. He's suffering from multiple ailments and diseases, and that is why he is calling off this 4-hour marathon, annual year-end marathon press conference. That is a guarantee. These are the articles that we're going to start seeing coming out of the collective West mainstream media, while they totally ignore Joe Bidenopolis and his deteriorating mental condition. They're going to ignore that, and they're going to focus on Putin's health. Just watch. That is exactly what is going to happen. But you're also going to get a lot of articles from the collective West, which are going to claim that Putin doesn't want to give his press conference because things are going so bad for Russia and Ukraine. Cue up those articles as well. And my opinion on this is actually the reverse. I think that this is a really bad sign for the collective West, NATO, and Ukraine, the fact that Putin is canceling this year-end press conference. Now, he could be canceling it for various reasons. Who knows? Maybe they just want to do this after the new year, because Putin has been traveling around a lot, and he has been given many speeches, multiple hours-long speeches throughout the year, including the big one that he did in October, 3 hours and 40 minutes. So maybe they're just like, look, let's take it a bit easy in December. Maybe they have a problem with foreign press, getting the credentials and getting the foreign press at this type of event. Who knows? Who knows why they're canceling it? It could be something minor, or it could be something major. And I think that's the problem for the collective West. They're going to come out and say, well, this is a sign that things are going badly for Putin. I say that the fact that Putin is canceling this year-end press conference could be a sign that the Kremlin doesn't want to field questions, doesn't want to talk, because something big is coming this December and January. So they might have said, you know what? Better that we just keep quiet, don't say anything, and let's prepare this big winter or January, I don't know, maybe a winter or January offensive, or do what we need to do to wrap things up in Ukraine, and then Putin will come and talk to the media, specifically the foreign media. Just my thoughts there. While the collective West is going to package this as a bad sign for Russia, I think this should be a very worrying sign for Ukraine, NATO, the EU, and the collective West. They should be very worried at the fact that Putin and the Kremlin are going to be silent for the next month or two. That is not a good sign for them. Just my thoughts. And now let's turn to another world leader, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and some of the statements that he's been making recently. So Scholz, he was speaking at a meeting of the Eastern Committee for German Businesses, the OA, which is a trade association focused on relations with Eastern Europe. And Olaf Scholz said that Germany should do business again with Russia. That's what he told the attendees at this meeting. But the caveat in all of this is that Olaf Scholz said that it's going to be Russia, after losing the conflict in Ukraine, that is going to be turning to Germany and begging Germany to do business with it. That is what Olaf Scholz told the people at this meeting. He said, at the moment, the relationships we have are being scaled back. The EU is tightening the sanctions now, but Russia will remain the largest country on the European continent after the conflict is resolved. It is therefore very important that we make preparations for this time. Scholz described the current conflict as an attempt by Russian President Vladimir Putin to recreate a Russian empire that is destroying the country's future instead, and accused Moscow of atrocities against the Ukrainian civilians. Russia must not win, and Russia will not win either, he told the business groups. That is, those were some of the quotes from Olaf Scholz. And actually, the German ambassador in DC said just last month, she said that Germany's transformation with regards to its relations with Russia, the cutting off of trade ties with Russia, is a small price to pay for a profound transformation of Germany into a remilitarized continental power, more hostile to Russia and closer to the U.S. Yeah, we haven't seen this narrative play out before. A remilitarized continental power. Okay, more hostile to Russia. Yeah, this has already been tried. This remilitarized, hostile to Russia Germany, and it did not turn out well. Anyway, that is Olaf Scholz. He is talking about doing business again with Russia. And the conditions for doing business again with Russia is that Russia will be losing in Ukraine, and Russia will be approaching Germany to do business again. And being the benevolent chancellor that Olaf Scholz is, he is telling the business community of Germany that Germany should accept Russia's requests to re-engage with Germany and with continental Europe, with all of the EU. That is Olaf Scholz's take. Of course, the last time Olaf Scholz even hinted about doing business again with Russia, the collective West, they decided to cut off certain pipelines. Liz Truss decided to send a text message to Blinken saying it's done. That was the last time Olaf Scholz talked about doing business with Russia. But this time it looks like Olaf Scholz has wised up a bit. And he is saying, yeah, we could do business with Russia, but it's Russia that's going to lose in Ukraine, and they're going to come to Germany and ask us to do business with them. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see that happening, Olaf. I think it's going to actually be the reverse. It's going to be Germany going to Russia, probably sometime next year when they're running into big time gas issues and they don't have Russian gas to fill up their storage. Next year, it's going to be Germany that is going to be running to Russia and saying, can you guys help out? And Russia's response is going to be, you guys need to fill up your gas storage facilities? Well, talk to Erdogan. He's the guy that's running the Turk Stream gas hub. That's going to be Putin's response to Germany. And what else did Olaf Scholz? I've got some more interesting Olaf Scholz statements and quotes from this event. Let's see. He also said that we have seen the atrocities the Russian president is capable of in Chechnya, where he essentially razed the entire country to the ground, or in Syria. There are simply no checks or restrictions. That's all. This he said at a press conference in Potsdam. Okay. In Chechnya and in Syria. So it's Russia's fault that ISIS didn't take over all of Syria. Damn it, Putin. Why did you stop IS from taking over Damascus? That's what Scholz is saying. And Scholz is an idiot. He is. The guy is clueless. Now I understand why they put him in as chancellor. He is absolutely clueless. Anyway, Scholz also said that he spoke to Putin on the telephone. He mentioned his telephone call with Putin. And he said that the dialogue always remains polite, without shouting and disruption. And he also said that Putin refuses to translate his remarks because he speaks German perfectly. And then Scholz admitted that he once tried to learn Russian, but apart from the alphabet, he could not remember anything. Scholz, you idiot! Oh boy, I could see Trudeau. Trudeau's going to call up Scholz and he's going to say, Olaf, I read your comments the other day about trying to learn Russia, to learn Russian, and the only thing you could learn is the alphabet. Scholz, you idiot! You should learn the Russian language like Angela learned Russian. How else are we going to accept Russia's surrender if you don't speak Russian, Olaf? Justin, you're right. I'm going to give it another shot. I'll try to learn the Russian language like Angela. She spoke perfect Russian. She spoke it so well that she double-crossed and duped the Russians into believing that she's going to abide by UN Security Council resolutions and binding contracts with Minsk I and Minsk II. Learning Russian is very important because that way I can secure the Russians' trust when signing international agreements, and then I can break that trust and not enforce those international agreements, just like Merkel did. You're right, Justin. It's time to get a Russian tutor. That's right, Olaf. Because, I speak English and French, and it's very important to be bilingual. Thanks, Trudeau. But before we hang up the phone, I just want to tell you one thing. Yes, Olaf? Trudeau, you idiot. I'm just joking. It's actually a good segue to my clown world. The Angela Merkel bit is a good segue. The Minsk Agreement is a good way to lead into my clown world because we have from the Daily Mail.co.uk. The title reads, Vladimir Putin can't be trusted in peace talks over Ukraine and could use them to buy time, says James Cleverly, warns James Cleverly, the foreign secretary. Quote, Vladimir Putin cannot be trusted in Ukraine peace talks. He may use them to buy time, warns James Cleverly, UK foreign secretary, urges against believing Moscow is set to negotiate on Ukraine and seeks maximum escalation of hostilities. Putin may use... The cat is waiting for food to come down from the balcony up there. So she's on the balcony and she's feeding the cat down below. What was I saying? Putin may use peace talks with Ukraine to buy time to rearm and cannot be trusted. That he wants to enter into negotiations in good faith, the British Foreign Secretary said. James Cleverly said that while London would like talks to take place sooner rather than later, any talks must be real. They cannot just be a fig leaf for Russian rearmament and further recruitment of soldiers. I don't see any signals from the Russian side that would convince me that Putin is entering these negotiations in good faith. That is what Cleverly said, according to the Daily Mail.co.uk. That is projection. Textbook projection right there from the British Foreign Secretary. I'm telling you, these guys, these guys, like, it's like they haven't seen any reports about Angela Merkel's interview and what she said about Minsk 1 or Minsk 2, and they're just twisting it around. Actually, you know what I think they do? Here's what they do. They're script writers. They say, okay, so we've got all these statements made by Angela Merkel where she says that she duped the Russians with Minsk 1 and Minsk 2, and she did all of that so she can buy time to rearm the Ukraine military and ramp up the war. Let's just take that script. Let's just change the names. From Merkel, let's just change it to Putin. From Germany and France, let's just, Germany, France, Ukraine, let's just change it around and make it Russia. And that's your script, James Cleverly. And go to the Daily Mail, give an interview, make some statements, and that'll be that. And because we're not talking about the Angela Merkel interview in the collective West media, because we don't mention it, no one's going to know that Merkel said these things, and we'll just pass it off as Putin is the one that can't be trusted to negotiate, and Putin is the one that is looking to buy time, and Putin is the one that is going to buy time in order to rearm Russia, because Russia's running out of missiles and all of these things that we've been hearing for the past 6 months. And that'll be how we package it to our citizens. And Cleverly's like, okay, just give me the script. Let me read it, and it all is good. Anyway, that's the clown world. That is how the propaganda, that is how they do propaganda. They don't even try to create original scenarios anymore. They just copy stuff, repackage it, change up names and countries and situations, and hand it over to the puppets in charge. TheDuran.locals.com. We are also on Rockfin as well. And go to the Duran shop, 10% off. Use the code GOODDAY. And look for Alexander's videos. Look for my videos. Look for the Duran's videos on all of the platforms, including Telegram and ODYSEE and BitChute and Rumble. Take care.